Morning, and we're live. We're live. Good morning. Hello, my name is Cindy. I'm a teacher. I'm headed to school, and I live in New Hampshire. And you can see out my window, we have some color changes for the leaves. So we're coming up to fall. And how are you today? Thank you for coming to my video. And please give this video a thumbs up if you would. And thank you so much for coming by. So I'm a teacher. I'm all the way driving to school, and I do these little car chats, and I'm trying to, just kind of tell about what's going on in the life of a teacher. And I hope you like my shirt. Got it on Amazon. And I have like a animal theme in my classroom, so I have a few shirts that have like animal print on them. Plus this one's cool because it's our school colors. Our school colors are black and gold or yellow. So this shirt I thought was kind of cute. So we're headed to school. It is 60 degrees and it's, let's see, is it the 19th? The dates are hard for me to remember, but we're getting closer to the end of September. So 1 month into the school year. Yeah, so how are you doing? I teach math. I teach 7th grade through 10th grade right now. And I kind of like teaching all the grades, one grade after the other. And having the same students, I know where they're at. I know, what they don't know. We work together on new concepts and things like that. We use what you call the Abeka curriculum from Pensacola, Florida. And this is a school in Florida. Actually, 2 of my children graduated from there. Another one of my children went there but didn't graduate. But yeah, it's a Christian school in Florida, college, and it's pretty economical so that students can go there for a good price, get their education, and not go into really high debt. So with all the news with this situation with Charlie Kirk, I honestly did not know him. I did not listen to his podcast. But now that he has, been taken out, I've kind of learned more about him and listened a lot of his speeches and what he stood for. And I feel like I align a lot with him, and his philosophy, I believe, in a lot of ways is mine. So he did say that college was a scam. And in some ways I do agree because, kids should not turn 18, you sign up for all of these, bills, and you don't know what the future's going to be. You don't know what type of job you're going to get. You don't even know if you could get injured, So we always steered our kids to go to college, but go somewhere where you don't have to go into debt. And Pensacola Christian College is that way. The only downside to it's a Christian college, and they have a lot of rules. They have a lot of rules about things on the campus, especially for girls. They have a lot of rules about, going off campus. What are the rules? What do you wear? Lots of things like that. And it can be discouraging, but I always say, when people go into the military, they expect rules. They expect to go into the military, and I always told my kids, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is, teach you to do is to make your bed, clean your room, obey orders. Those are things you can learn at home, but a lot of kids aren't learning those things at home. And they push you to your limits. And I always thought, why do kids go to college and just play? They play and they goof around and they think it's a party. It's a big party for how many thousands of dollars. So Pensacola is not like that. I think it's kind of like a Christian military school. And so I'm sure it's a mind game as a student because you have to submit to all those rules. But then when you're done, you can graduate without debt. I don't know if they still have it, but one of my kids had the 4th year free program where you sign up right before your senior year, or right before your freshman year, I think. You fill out an application. It costs $500, and you apply for the 4th year free program. And if you stay in the college for years, and you don't, well, 3 years, consecutive years, then you go the 4th year will be free. And a lot of people do that. It's a little tricky, you know. You can't have any thing come up. Now, I personally went to school for consecutive years, didn't have any problems when I was in college, but you know, it's kind of a little bit of a acting by fate. So then my daughter did that, and the one daughter that did that, she ended up getting really sick her 4th year, and she ended up having to have her tonsils out. So she managed all of that. She managed being sick, still doing her schoolwork, and she ended up graduating. So that was quite amazing for her. But at least she had the 4th year free. At least she didn't have to, you know, go into more debt because of the 4th year, paying for the 4th year and getting sick. It kind of kept her in school too, because if she had come out, she had done all that, then she would have had to go another year. So it's a affordable school, Pensacola Christian College. So anyway, I was talking about the curriculum that we use at our school. It's traditional math, and they have a curriculum that is from 1st grade all the way up into high school. And so as the students do 1st grade, the curriculum covers all of the things 1st graders need. And then the next year, it just kind of builds on what they did before. And it's the same curriculum, so it kind of repeats and repeats and repeats. So by the time the kids get through 8th grade, they have a really good foundation of math. And I'm not sure why the well, maybe I do know why. Public schools seem to keep changing their methods. And what happens is, you know, they try different methods. Maybe this method doesn't work. Well, you've just experimented on a whole entire, you know, 3rd grade cohort, right? So I really like the Abeka program. It's very good. They did make some changes to their editions. I'm not sure exactly why, but oh, they probably have new people writing the books. They probably figure they're doing better with these books. But you have to be in the classroom to see where kids are. Ever since 2020, kids have gotten really behind. I don't care how old they were during 2020. It definitely affected education. And so kids are coming in with deficiencies, and we have to try to kind of meet them where they're at and help them along. It's been difficult. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm headed off to school. I teach math, and I also have a tutoring service, and I have a few tutoring students that I work with, and that's been a blessing. I also do 30 minutes of reading with my grandson every day, which is kind of cool. I do that on Zoom. So thank you for coming. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Thank you for visiting my channel. And I'm a teacher, so I like to talk about things related to teachers, everyday life. And I was just talking about the Charlie Kirk thing, where his philosophy is that college is a scam. And I kind of believe in some ways it is, because you could go to school, you get into debt, $100,000 for the rest of your life. Then you want to go buy a house. If you're in New Hampshire, houses are $450,000 and up. So if you have a $100,000 debt, you're just getting started. How are you going to buy a $450,000 house? And a lot of kids don't have parents that can do that for them. So I don't think we should plan on, generational living if it's not necessary. So anyway, debt is definitely a racket, and I feel bad for anyone who has to go into debt because of their education. If you do go into debt because of your education, you got to make sure you keep going until you can get one of those really good jobs that helps pay it off. In New Hampshire, if you're the principal of the school, you get over $100,000 a year. If you're a superintendent, you get maybe $130,000, $150,000 a year. That might be nice. So the possibilities of making money are there, but they're not as much as regular jobs. So you got to really be creative on how to, make enough money to pay off that debt. The idea should be debt-free living as much as possible. And, maybe go into debt for housing, maybe a car if you have the income for it. But after that, keep your debt away. Live with less, buy on the marketplace. Try not to spend money on foolish things like this shirt on Amazon. I also got this headband on Amazon. Sometimes deals on Amazon are really great. Like I got like a dozen of these headbands for maybe $15 on Amazon. So you go into the store, you might buy one for like $6 or $10. And I got a whole package for like $15. Same with my earrings. If you go on Amazon, you can get a package of different hoop earrings, all different colors. I got those on Amazon probably for $10, a whole bunch. So there are ways to save money. I guess you could say I do spend $15 a month on Prime and more money on the Audible, which I was debating on whether or not to quit the Audible because I haven't been listening to as much, but I didn't yet. So we're headed to school. Next week is the Deerfield Fair week, starting next week, a week from today. And so I'm going to put my items into the fair this coming up soon, Monday, I think, Monday or Tuesday. And so that's going to be fun. I have to wrap those up this weekend. And I have a doll, I have a blanket, I have a dishcloth, I have a couple pictures, and I have an art project. I think I have 6 items. So I will be bringing those in. So, yeah. I hope you guys are doing well, and this has been a hard week. I'm really kind of sad about the events in the news, but I also know that God is in control, and when I look at what's going on in the news, I see that we had, Charlie Kirk. I didn't even really know who he It's like some people, they just, they hear a speaker, they want to hear everything that person has to say. I don't really have a lot of time for that. I don't watch the national news as much. So I knew who he was. I had seen some debates, but I didn't realize he was as famous as he was. And I didn't realize all of his philosophy. I've been listening to a lot of videos. This morning I heard a video that a girl, first of all, I want to say that last night, I saw on Facebook last night at University of New Hampshire, they had a vigil for Charlie Kirk, and over 1,000 people were there. That is amazing for New Hampshire because UNH is very liberal-minded, and there's, you know, people are Christians that go there, but they're kind of afraid to say much. And I had a friend that would go there, and he was an evangelist at UNH, and he would go and just do the best he could. Well, last night they had a vigil there. I hope my friend was there. I saw videos of it. They were singing the Star Spangled Banner, and they also shared the gospel. And they told everyone to go to church, read your Bible, get right with God, and that this is what Charlie's mission was all about. And so I do hope that it's a revival of the Spirit of God in New Hampshire, anyway. And so that was last night. And then today I heard someone asked AI, if Charlie was alive right now, what would he say? And basically it said, don't worry about me, I'm okay. Read your Bible, keep going, don't quit. Hey Jason. So I think that we need to take that message, you know, and say, read your Bible, don't quit. And, you know, it's hard for me to get up every day. People who've been to my channel know that I had a son who died in a ski accident 2 years ago, and he was 21. And, you know, when we had his service, a lot of people said that my son inspired them to get to know who God was. And that was the ultimate blessing for me as a parent. Number one, to know that he knew God and that he was with the Lord, and I will see him someday. And number two, that he was pointing people to God. You know, and nobody's perfect. Nobody has a perfect life. And as a parent, you're always like trying to help your kids to do better. But once they're gone, once they're with the Lord, that's it. God says, your job is done. And when we had my son's services, so many of his friends comforted me, knowing that that my son pointed them to Christ. And I'm sure that's the same for all of Charlie's friends and his family, to know that he had a mission and he did fulfill his mission. And the evil that is in our country is just sad, but you know what? Evil comes with freedom, because, you know, we have the freedom to choose. And we do have to make walking with the Lord attractive, because people love to get discouraged. They love to find excuses why they can't do what's right. So I love, one of the things I've learned about Charlie is that he was encouraging. He always said, I think you're going to be great. I think you're going to do a great job. You have so much possibility. I heard so many people say that. And even his wife, when she gave her speech, she said, those who followed Charlie, you know what to do. You know. I love that. My grandmother used to tell me that. I would go to her apartment and I would be discouraged, and I didn't want to tell her what my problem was. She just knew I was discouraged, and she'd look at me and she'd say, you know what to do, Cindy. And I'd be like, I do? I don't really think I do. She said, yes, you know what to do. And she was challenging me to pray about it, because she was a prayer warrior. So prayer is part of this whole thing too. So we are given the breath, you know, we're given breath for today. We're given a mission, go to school, teach the kids, show them Christ, pray, ask God to help you to walk with him and to do what the Lord would have you to do in every moment. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day. And thank you for attending my channel. Please give this video a thumbs up. and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.